recently, the I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to spell it out. The SAG-AFTRA Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA.
Sagat for
I've just heard it referred to as SAG, Screen Actors Guild, but
Saggy Guild. Saggy Guild.
so they recently published an open letter to the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health requesting a meeting on the video game voice acting industry. And their concerns are, here's what the letter actually says about that. For up to 4 hours, actors are asked to perform not just voices, but noises, death screams, creature voices, combat yelling, and other sounds, with so much force and explosive vibration that they are causing internal damage to their vocal cords. That strain is preventable, as employers often know the vocal content and the extent of the vocal stress prior to a session. Still, they often deny this information to the actor. Members have also reported that employers will continue to push actors in a vocally stressed session, even though there are audible signs of vocal distress. In fact, we have had reports from members that some employers are offering special numbing candies so that the actors can power through the session without feeling the damage they're doing to their vocal cords. So, SAG is a Screen Actors Guild. They're a union, and I have mostly negative views of unions. Just to be honest here, I kind of feel like they often will cause more harm than good. I don't like the fact that there's certain jobs where if you don't belong to a union, you can't do it. So
there's no money working in a union unless if the union is struggling to accomplish something. That is true. So they do force conflicts occasionally, just so that they can prosper. And a lot of times they will just charge ridiculous union fees, for something that employers probably would be okay to discuss and do without a union.
And just to get collective bargaining rights, it just seems like you basically don't get a fair return. And that's I don't like hate people in unions or anything like that. I just kind of view them as somewhat of a necessary evil. But here, if what they're saying is true, and I kind of think that this is definitely a good possibility of it being true, they need to change this in the industry, because voice actors, now if you try to get into voice acting, a lot of voice actors will tell you, I don't just do this.
Yeah.
I have other side projects that I work on. A lot of them do other things with their voice, like they'll have singing careers.
Yeah.
And recently we've both watched a documentary called I Know That Voice.
Yeah.
And John DiMaggio, who I've got up on the screen here, he does several voices.
He's my favorite dog in the world.
Adventure Time.
Best name ever.
Bender. And I didn't realize this, but he's actually the voice of the Scotsman from Samurai Jack, one of my all-time favorite cartoons. So,
Gears of War too.
But he was and what character did he do in Gears of War? Did he do Phoenix?
Yeah, he was the lead role.
Yeah.
The main character.
Yeah. And in that documentary, he said, for a video game, you go in over the course of a weekend, like 2 or 3 days, and you say all the lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
And he said it's rough.
I mean, he said it would take like a month just to recover his voice afterwards, and he had to do all sorts of exercises
to
keep in shape.
And and that's the thing. Like sometimes you can, if you don't do it all at once, like your vocal cords can actually like basically galvanize to the point where they do get used to it. Like Dragon Ball Z, those voice actors they can pull off anything, I'm convinced.
I swear that like they record half of that stuff in the bathroom. Like they're powering up like
They've had people pass out.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's great. That's a good job.
And specifically for video games where they have like these really short concentrated sessions.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff in this letter I had no idea about. I knew that they do a lot in a concentrated session. They do all the death screams and
Mm.
reactions to stuff. And of course, if you're a director, and you don't quite get what you want, you just that's the you know that's the unfortunate side effect
Yeah.
of acting is you have to keep doing it till you get it right.
And sometimes that just the blood curdling scream, dude, you have to hurt your voice for that. I've sung in punk bands, metal bands, and I've I have screamed, and after a set, I realized that,
You're done.
dude, I love punk and I love playing hard and I like screaming because it's just sometimes I got a lot of energy and sometimes I get super angry and it's just good to vent it out. But I learned that I can't be in a hardcore band, and be a singer. I can play all I want, but my voice cannot do that. I have almost blacked out on multiple occasions, sometimes in front of audience, and it's just things start getting fuzzy. It's the middle of the set, just so I can only imagine what they're going through. And I know that it takes a while, so many takes before you actually get that sound that terrifies somebody or that actually emotes the way that the director wants it to. So
Yeah.
it is about art, and I can understand wanting to get that, but I have a feeling that this is less to do with art, and it's more about getting them to just rushing them through the script
Production for it.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
just trying to condense the time to get them to do it as quickly as possible. Because let's face it, the industry is more concerned with pumping out titles than good games at this point, which is a necessary evil because you can remember the video game collapse, like where we just had companies doing that. But we still have terrible games, that uh, probably have terrible directors and they get low level people to do whatever they want them to and they just use them like work mules and then just like throw them out, here's your cheap little check, and welcome to the industry, now get
Yeah.
out of my office.
And it's horrible if they, because basically their vocal cords are their source of income.
Yeah.
So if they lose that, and I know that they can actually get insurance in case something like
Yeah.
that happens, but that's
Yeah.
still terrible. Though those practices do need to get changed.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for that.
Yeah, and yeah, that's true. But it's not everybody though. And if you do start regulating, you're going to get some great games or potentially great games that are hindered and limited by, the rules and guidelines that they have to follow based off of the union. And that might actually have an adverse effect for some of the games. And some of
True.
the actors and actresses are like, man, I have to wait another day, 2, 3 days before I can go in, and I know I can just nail it.
Right.
Or at the same time, some guys like, I'm gonna bleed from my throat and I just want it to stop, but they say that I won't get a paycheck and can't eat my Taco Bell tonight because I'm a starving artist and I'm just breaking into the industry and I'm only 20.